your kind words. So generally, we begin by, you can say, giving thanks to Vice Chancellor and authorities. But specifically today, I begin by thanking you for your efforts you take in organizing and every time introducing me with your so kind words. So thank you, Ankit. So dear friends, let us at the outset pray our rich tribute Santa Gadge Baba, under whose name our university, Santa Gadge Baba Amravati University, Amravati works. Let us also be thankful to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and most importantly, Director of MMTC, that is Madan Mohan Malviya Teachers Training Center, Dr. Atik Sir, and Tulsiram Gaikwad, very renowned engineering college of our region, Tulsiram Gaikwad College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. So at the beginning, I thank all of them, and most importantly, the August gathering. Today, we will be discussing, interacting with some important aspects of National Education Policy 2020. Now we have already started implementing it, as Ankita very rightly said, but when we are implementing, there are certain key aspects of this policy. We will try to interact those key aspects so that when remaining 7, 8 points you will be discussing over coming 1 week or so, that time everything we will have to ensure that whatever points we discuss, whatever questions, and when implementation part will come, there is some basic framework under which everybody will have to operate in India, because it is a national policy and it is aligned with international framework. So today we will try to get ourselves acquainted with those framework under which we will be operating, whether we are implementing it at X university at X place or at Y university at Y place. It is immaterial. So this is how we will be, our topic for today's discussion will be there. I will be very happy if we could make it more interactive, because I know we are all teachers. Monologue and listening to somebody for such a long duration is really tedious and sometimes boring too. So whenever, my friends, we are all from teaching fraternity, we are all friends. So whenever you feel that we should take a break for a few minutes, or some question should be there, or something which is continually unnecessarily repeated by me, please feel free to bring me on the track. So that freedom I give it to all these August gathering. Now, in our today's session, what we will do, our session we will divide in two parts. First part, we will try to understand the, you can say, evolution, I will say, of the document known as National Education Policy 2020, because the milestones through which this evolution has taken place has got great implication when it gets implemented. So from that point of view, it is necessary to understand the something behind what had happened in getting NEP document. So those milestones, some international agreements, some alignment with all international standards of higher education. So those things we will have to understand, so that when we will implement, it will be easier for us why such things are brought into this policy. Second thing, few fundamental concepts, new revolutionary concepts are, you can say, there as a foundation pillars on which this policy is designed, and we cannot neglect those foundation pillars when we implement. So something about that also we will see. And once we are clear with the process of evaluation of the policy, pillars and concepts on which the implementation will be taking place, then we will go into detailing of frameworks. So in two parts, we will have our session. Say first part, let us consider it of 1 hour and 15 minutes, 5-10 minutes break, then another 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minute, you can say presentation, 15-20 minutes for our interactive session. Generally, what I find that question answer session does not last for 5 to 10 minutes. So accordingly, let us keep that time. Of course, I am available for answering after that also. So this will be our way we will be interacting in 3 hours. What is expected outcome? See, after you are spending so much time, MMTC is taking all efforts. And what do we expect? What is the expected outcome of our these 3 hours interactive session? What we are expecting that after deliberation and interaction of this session, the audience, the learned faculty members, fraternity will be able to appreciate the process of formation of national education policy, the fundamental principles or concepts or aim or objectives of NEP with reference to higher education, and more importantly, there are major three frameworks under which everybody will be operating. But considering the time slot, at least everybody of us will be able to understand NCRF, what is called as National Credit Framework, under which everybody will be operating, and National Qualification Framework. So NSQF and NQF and NHEQF. So National Higher Education Qualification. All of us will be knowing now after our session that what are those, and in those framework we have to appreciate, operate. And third framework is LOCF, Learning Outcome Based Curriculum Framework. So only that I will try to introduce, because I know that all these three frameworks cannot be covered in, say, our in given time of almost 3 hours. So these will be our learning outcomes after our interactive session. So let us, with this brief introduction, let us begin our discussion. So as I was saying, this national education policy is a evolved document. Our last education policy was adopted somewhere in 1985-86. And when that policy was implemented, in true sense, the evolution of today's NEP 2020 started somewhere in the year 86-87 itself. That is why we know that our earlier policy was slightly modified in 90s also. So what were the things happened after last education policy and before implementation of this policy? Say from say 1985-86 to 2020, what important events happened on through which this evolution process has undergone? What happened after 85-86? One important at international level, the you can say in what we today call it as NBA, that Washington Accord took place as an international agreement, and there were few countries, including India, who have signed that agreement. And what was that agreement? That agreement was regarding the standardization of higher education, more importantly, technical education amongst various countries. So it was obviously led by American institution, and minimum benchmark and measurement of those benchmark and attainment of those benchmark were decided in that Washington Accord. And according to Washington Accord, the institution, what we call it NBA, National Board of Accreditation, came into existence, and engineering colleges or technical education institutions started getting something what is known as NBA accreditation. And it was a one step towards meeting global standards by Indian education, higher education system, to begin with technical education system. Later on, it was expanded to all other university level education, and NAC came into picture. So that was regarding quality mandate and some marking, identifying certain benchmark, mapping their standards, and then equating or mapping our education with international education, so that for higher education, the students were considered to be eligible for any institute depending upon the accreditation of that institution. Even for job purposes also, the standardized, how they will say that degree from one university of some country is equivalent to other. For that benchmarking and standardization, Washington Accord came into picture. So quality mandate become one parameter which uh, Rohit sir, if it will be better if you could mute yourself. So that was that pillar you will find in National Education Policy 2022. Second event happened in somewhere 1992 in our country, that we as a nation accepted liberalization, privatization, and more importantly, globalization as our policy, and we become signatory of GATT agreement also. So that time we never thought that GATT has to do something with education also. We thought that it is about trade and business only. But no, that agreement was, education was also one of the service sectors. So India's process towards globalization. So that second event is the milestone which you will find is reflected in NEP, and that was one of the important, you can say, affecting parameter in formulating NEP too. Third event internationally happened somewhere in 1997, wherein the UNO has settled one committee under chairmanship of, you can say, Prime Minister of Norway, and one global document came that is known as Our Common Future. And when that document came at UNO level, all countries, 173 countries, endorsed that document, and that set the future of the globe. What was this? It has said that if we do not correct ourselves, the present technological advancement will ultimately lead to probably doom of Earth. So concept of sustainability development came first time into the global agenda, and everybody has accepted. And from that up to 2000, you can say almost 10, 17 sustainable development goals were accepted by all countries of the this you can say globe. And we will find that concept of sustainability and attainment of sustainability development goals, there are 17 sustainability development goals, and full accomplishment by year 2035 was the commitment to the world by India also. And that we will find has got great, you can say, impact on formulating national education policy. And we know that once sustainability development goal was accepted, the document Our Common Future was accepted. Then there was Johannesburg, you can say, conference. And finally, what is known as Bones Declaration came into existence somewhere in 2004-5. What does that Bones Declaration state? It states that the owners of sustainable development, means creating awareness, educating people, you can say creating new designs and technology. So principally, many of the accomplishment of mission of sustainability is on the shoulders of education sector in general and higher education in particular. So this Bones Declaration says that education sector has to get revolutionized, so that future century, 21st century, will lead to sustainability. So that is how The Bonds Declaration also we will find has got great impact in formulating national education policy. And last but important was, you can say, revolution, what is known as information technology revolution. And during COVID period, it was again stamped, vindicated that the if we want to reach up to unreachable, technology is the only solution, and all of us have seen the impact of IT in education or education technology during period of COVID. So that is another impactful event, that IT revolution, which we will find has got footprints in National Education Policy 2020. So this from 1985 till 2010-11, these various events had happened, and when the draft document came into existence, earlier Dr. Subramaniam sir has done wonderful work of preparing the draft. Then draft committee led by none other than ISRO ex-chairman and very distinguished authorities in education as their members. They have formulated draft policy for a new education, then called as New Education Policy 2020. Now, we have what is the takeaway from discussion, whatever we had for last 15 minutes? The takeaway is this policy NEP 2020 is a evolved document, and its evolution started in somewhere 1986 to somewhere 2013-14. So it is a evolved document having all global, you can say, impacts, the events which had happened globally. It is something related with our nation's commitment to the globe, and it has come out of the need of sustainability. And with this, the fundamental, you can say, pillars or foundation of NEP came into existence. Now, all of us should understand these pillars, because once we understand these pillars, it becomes very easy to understand the statements in policy and whatever instruments have been provided for implementing the policy. So there are 5 pillars of NEP 2020. First, you can say 2 or 3, you will find access, equity, and affordability. They come from sustainability development. That education has to be our what we generally called as gross enrollment ratio, or access to education, let it be school education or higher education. So first and foremost requirement of sustainability is access to all. So access to all, access of education, increasing gross enrollment ratio. So enhancing the compass and, you can say, canvas of our education. So access is the most important. So you will find that how different levels are given of education, how they are interconnected, how it is ensured that everybody who takes education, maybe in formal mode, informal mode, non-formal mode, blended mode, digital mode, online mode, whatever may be the mode of education, but education must be made accessible. And this is what you will find when the formulation of NEP and implementation of NEP is considered. So thrust is given on increasing the access through accepting any mode of education as a mode of education. Second is equity. So technology, you will find, is largely used, or it is recommended in NEP to use of technology, so that equity is also ensured in education sector. So, and affordability, social and economy, these are the 2 important pillars of, you can say, sustainability. So affordability of education, lifelong education, as and whenever anybody wants education, everything has to be ensured when we say that NEP is implemented. So access, equity, affordability, they come out of the concept of sustainability. So these three pillars you will find are given very importance when the NEP is drafted, accepted, and will be implemented. Quality is from Washington Accord. So quality benchmarks, measurement of quality, ensuring that everybody is able to reach the quality. So outcome-based education is comes out of, you can say, Washington Accord. And first we have to define what is expected outcome, and we have to measure that whether we have reached that expected outcome. Only after assessing and ensuring that outcome is achieved, we have to certify it. So this type of assessment system is going to come, and whole education system is going to get converted into outcome based education. So quality is another fourth important pillar of, you can say, NEP. You will find that for quality also, technology revolution, Washington Accord, those are the milestones on which, you can say, NEP is based. And something new for we, the fraternity of teaching fraternity, is accountability. So since it is outcome based education, fifth pillar, assessment, measurement, and you can say account, making somebody accountable for not achieving the outcomes. So this is what is the important pillar for we all, institutions, universities, and we teachers, is we have to ensure this fifth pillar, accountability, which was not earlier there. We were not considered any time responsible for outcome of our education system. Whether student pass exams or not, we were never held accountable. If our students are passed, whether they are employable or not, we were not really held accountable. Whether whatever is expected outcome when we issue some degree, diploma, or postgraduate, so it was not measured whether that qualification has got certain parameter. But now, whatever certifications we will be awarding, it will always be attached with certain qualification parameters, and we will have to ensure unless those parameters are met with, we will not be able to award any certificate. And if we do so, probably we may be held accountable that, so something that is very important pillar will be coming when implementation of NEP will come. So again, what is the takeaway from this discussion is that NEP is based on 5 pillars. Those pillars are, of course, related with sustainability or Washington Accord or all those technology revolution. So whatsoever may be the background, but formulation of NEP as a policy, and while implementation, we have to ensure that access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability will be the parameters under which NEP will be working henceforth. Now, just for a few minutes, what those document of policy is, this policy has divided into 4 parts. First part is school education. Of course, it is not our today's topic, so I will not deal with part one of this policy, that is school education. Only 1 minute comment I will make, that henceforth, education, earlier we used to have 10 plus 2 pattern, up to 10 and then plus 2. Now pattern will be 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Depending upon the age group, what we generally call is pre-primary education will become a formal education, and up to the age of 8, that is from 3 to 8, age 3 to age 8 will be called as fire, and expected outcome of that education will also be given. So generally what we say that standard second. So first step will be standard second. Second step plus 3 will be third, fourth, fifth standard. Another will be 6, 7, 8. And after 8, it will be plus 4. That is 9, 10, 11, 12. So instead of 10 plus 2, our pattern will be 8 plus 4. So what is the takeaway for we higher education people? Earlier, we used to get students after completing 12 standard. So bifurcation was done after 10 standard. So student used to go to science stream, art streams, commerce stream, and according to that, whatever they have selected at 10th, the student used to get either in arts, commerce, or if they are from PCM group, they used to go to engineering. If with PCB, they used to go to medical, etc. That will not be there now. From 8th, they will be selecting the subject of study from various basket, maybe science basket. They call it as STEM courses and non-STEM courses. I will come to it later on. But takeaway is that from 10th, bifurcation of the student will not be there. Up to 12th, so student may be studying science, some subject of science, maybe of commerce, maybe of humanities. Mathematics will be probably compulsory for everybody. So the entry of our student presently 12th, then they come to engineering. It will be many students with some subject in humanities or one subject in commerce will also come to engineering colleges. So the baskets or subject will be there and students will choose the subject and they will come. Second thing, it will be a level-based education. So complete education system will be divided from level 1 to level 10, 8, level 8, and up to level 4 will be equivalent to what we call it as 12th standard. So school education or up to present nomenclature wise up to 12th education will can be termed as level 4 education. Our students, when they come to higher education, we will say that they have attained level 4. So whomsoever attends level 4 will be eligible to come to level 4.5, that is the higher education level. So we may find some students who have not done 12th. They have learnt up to standard 10, then gone for some professional, their technical or vocational job, and they are they have attained level 4 in their vocation, whatever they have done through experiential learning, and you may find them in higher education. So this is what will be the trend when NEP will be implemented. Our higher education will be termed as level 4.5, level 5, level 5.5 if it's 3 years degree, and PhD will be level 8. So something like that, higher education will start from level 4.5. Then part 3 is about other key areas of focus, and part 4 is making it happen. For our today's discussion, we will be concentrating on particularly higher education, and in this higher education also towards more holistic and multidisciplinary education, something reimagining vocational education, equity and inclusion in higher education. And for that, it will be some sort of a restructuring and consolidation. So some framework will be provided to make it uniform throughout the country, and that framework is aligned with international standard. So today we will be concentrating on that part of it. Now here, friends, the takeaway of whatever discussion we had up till now, if we summarize it 1 minute, we have understood the process of evolution of this national education policy. We know that at international level, important events or many things happened, and it has got huge impact on this policy because India has adopted to become globalized through LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And as a national policy, we are education sector is also getting aligned with international agreement, international standard. We also know that this policy is based on 5 pillars, very important pillars. So everything will be towards that. And third important part is this policy when it will be implemented, right from school education to highest possible education, everything in education is going to get changed in a betterment towards its betterment. And along with our present system of 10 plus 2 plus 3 years degree plus 2 years postgraduate program, now that will still remain, but complete system will get aligned with level-based education. So competency-based education, we are changing ourselves from academic stream education to competency and capability-based education system, level-based education system. Mode of education will become redundant, but attainment of level will become prominent. System will be turned towards student-centric system rather than teacher and teaching centric system. So it will be important whether teaching takes place, but it will be more important that learning takes place. The teaching, where it is taken place, at what time teaching taken is taken, is not as important as whatever may be the mode. But if learning happens, if certain outcomes are achieved, if they are measurable, those are measured, then on the basis of attainment of learning outcomes, the qualifications will be awarded. So this is what is the summary of fundamental principle of national education policy. Now it begins. This is probably the first policy where right from what is education from that to what do we mean by educated person, everything is very well specified and defined. So what is, let us in few minutes let us understand in terms of national education policy, what is education basically. So the Western thoughts, it is clearly given in the, you can say, instruments of this policy also. As per Western thought, let it be Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, or Dictionary of Education. As per this Western thoughts, you will find that it is something bringing out of ideas, universal values, which are already present in every man. This is the fundamental principle. You will find that even dictionary says it is the aggregate of all processes by which person develops abilities, attitudes, and other forms of behavior of practical values in society where he or she lives. So, in alignment with Western thought, Swami Vivekanandaji's thought is considered as most acceptable in this NEP. What is that thought? Education is the manifestation of divine perfection, which is already within an individual. So, a concept of education in NEP is considered as manifestation of perfection, which is already existed in individual. And they have given dimensions of that perfection. So education means integration of knowledge, attitude, and skills. This is the complete, you can say, the fundamental basis. If you want, anybody wants understand what is the concept of education in perception of NEP, we can understand what will be there in policy and what will be in implementation of policy. As per NEP, education is integration of knowledge, attitude, and skills. And it is stated that if it is this integration happens, the manifestation of perfection happens. So one thread we get from this discussion that in our in education system, there will be equal weightage in development of knowledge, development of right attitudes, and development of skills required or imbibing the skills in the person, our student. On this basis, now complete policy moves around these three words: knowledge, attitude, and skill. So in the policy, aim of education is also very clear stated. So we have understood what is education. Now, what is that this policy aims at? So the policy says to develop good human beings capable of rational thought and action, possessing compassion and empathy. See, there is difference between passion and compassion. Passion may lead to success, but compassion leads to happiness. So here thrust will not only to success, but it will be thrust will be towards happiness. Courage and resilience, scientific temper, creative imagination, ethical mooring and values. So this is the expectation, purpose of education envisaged in NEP. So it should produce engaged, productive, contributing citizen for building equitable, inclusive, and plural society. Now here you will find pillars come into picture. So this is the purpose stated for education in NEP. So the aim of education will not be cognitive development, not only knowledge and information, but also building character and creating holistic, well-rounded individual equipped with 21st century skills. See, this aim is very clearly specified in NEP. So this gives us the thread, what we are expected to do when we implement. We have to impart 21st century skills. We have to impart moral, ethical education and value system. And we have to develop cognitive, you can say, things also, that is knowledge component of personality also. So our whole education system will be having three dimensions very clearly. And last, as I was saying, accountability. So what does it state? What is the mandate given to we, the institutions and fraternity, teaching fraternity, is that we have to prepare students for more meaningful and satisfying lives. See, very big, you can say, responsibility is given on us. Meaningful and satisfying. Nowhere successful word is used. Number one. Second is we have to prepare students for their work roles. What does it mean? If I am teaching certain student commerce in first year or second year, I have to keep in mind when this student will go to work in his proper role. Say he will be after graduating, maybe doing post graduation, maybe going in various sectors of economy. So I have to first understand what are the requirements of those, you can say, environment, economic environment in which my student will be working. So I have to look forward 6 7 years when my student is with me in first year itself, what that student will be doing after 6 years, and whatever that student is expected to do, I have to prepare him for that work role. So tomorrow a commerce graduate goes to bank and bank people say he doesn't know anything about banking, then accountability will come to us that we are expected to prepare a commerce student for various sectors of economics. And if any sector says no, he prepared, he is not prepared for this work role, so probably then accountability will come to us. And last, we have to prepare to enable their economic independence. So our whole education system will be redesigned to ensure that our, now I use the word product, our product will be tested on three scales, whether that any individual is leading meaningful and satisfying life or not, whether the student is fit for the work role, whatever he is doing from the education he has taken, and whether the student had become is able as a economic independent or not. So our aim, our you can say mandate is to prepare students of this account. So this one slide completely sets what is expected from education institutions, teachers, and everybody involved who impart the education. So we have to develop on three things: knowledge, attitude, and skill. And we have to understand what are the requirement as job role, future job role in our sector, and according to we have to give knowledge, attitude, and skills, so that student when goes to his real life, he leads meaningful, satisfied life, he is fit for the job role, and he becomes economically independent. Very clearly the policy gives us mandate what we in higher education are expected to do. Now, once that mandate is given, they have even given a slight window is there which shows how we should go ahead. See, our you can say autonomy to design syllabus, etc., is there. Nobody has taken it away, but they have given us some guideline to go ahead with this expectation. Number one, education must move towards less content. Very important dimension given to us when we frame the syllabus. Bulky things should not be there because it will be one level based education. Second, it must move towards how to think critical and problem solving. So critical thinking and problem solvers is what is expected outcome from us. How to be creative, multidisciplinary. So standalone things will go. All education system will become multidisciplinary. This is what how to go ahead. So we have to become multidisciplinary. We have to design our syllabus so that student will become critical thinker, creative, and problem solvers. Second, you can say thread they have given to go ahead is the education must develop not only cognitive capacities, foundational capacities, higher order, both cognitive capacities have to be developed, including critical thinking, problem solving, but social, ethical, emotional capacities and dispositions have to be there. So our education system component will be now foundational cognitive capacities, higher order cognitive capacities, problem solving, critical thinking, as well as social, ethical, emotional, and values, ethics, dispositions. So this is how our curriculum, etc., will be revolving around. And one more thread is given for us, that is individuals should study one or more specialized area of interest. See, it is interest of learner now, and that specialized area has to be learnt in depth. Also develop character, ethical, constitutional value, etc., and 21st century across various range of discipline, including science, social science, arts, humanities, languages, professional, technical, vocational subjects. So cross-linking of all disciplines will be there. So what does the takeaway? In our, whether we are engineering or whether we are science, commerce, or arts education, they will have necessarily multidisciplinary approach. So some vocational subject will be mandatorily there. There will be some subject depending upon liking of humanities, languages, along with our core service. But it will be on three domains. One will be of cognitive domain, and student, whatever subject of interest is there, he will go into deeper it, but other subject he may learn out of passion also. second will be value domain, and third domain will be skill domain. So, and everything will be multidisciplinary approach. And it ultimately they should be of higher order, that is critical thinker, problem solver, because we are operating in higher education area. So this is the indication or direction given to us through the policy when we will frame our syllabus, etc. So here very clearly the higher education and its types are given in this other instruments supporting to NEP. So classification of higher education is also very clear. Higher education is defined as education which is obtained after completing 12 years of schooling or equivalent and is of the duration of at least 9 months. So say I say full time 1 year. So after 12, 1 year education will be minimum, has to be there, which can be called as higher education. So somebody is doing 12 and 6 months some course, certificate course. Will that person, student will be in higher education? As per definition, no. If he completes 1 year, then only he will be called as in the higher education domain. Or 10 years of schooling and at least experience of 3 years. So this is what, so level 4 above. We will see what are those levels. That time it will be more clear. So what is higher education is very clearly mentioned. Now in higher education, it can be of various nature, such as general higher education, vocational higher education, professional higher education, or technical higher education. So let us understand what is these types of higher education. What is vocational education? In part 2, in point number 16 of National Education Policy, good amount of matter is discussed under vocational education. The reason is very clear. Vocational education will be integrated in our academic education. So whether a student is from humanities, arts, science, commerce, we engineers are always in vocational education, professional education. But even for general education, what we call it as arts, science, commerce, they will be having essentially the components of vocational education. So what does vocational education means as per NEP? It integrates the complex of knowledge, attitude, skills, but for particular occupation in the economy. So it distinguishes from academic education in terms of close linking of knowledge and skill to specific practical challenges and work situations in the economy. If it is related to particular work situation, then we will call it vocational. Say, for example, some students takes apprenticeship or internship or some course related to banking, then those components of his higher education will be called as component of vocational education relevant to his regular academic education. Similarly, art student can go for various sectors of, you can say, humanities, say newspaper industry or some hospitality management. That component of his undergraduate education will be part of vocational education. But vocational and skill education will be essential component of any undergraduate program of any university in the country. Now, the aim of vocational education is to acquire defined set of practical competencies in specific areas of work in the economy that require knowledge, skill, and attitude related to that field of work. So, this vocational education is very, very clearly defined and explained in case of, you can say, NEP also. So, it may be also called at career or technical education. By different name, it is called at. It will be a craft education also, say in support of agriculture, technology, travel, tourism, shipping. So I hope everybody of us now are very clear about what is vocational education. Now, earlier it was focused something like that. It is related to work, and those who are not able to cope up with general education, people used to undermine it. Okay, go for vocational education. So if you cannot do science, art, go for MCVC. But now it will not be such in when NEP is implemented. Vocational is brought at par with general education in terms of its importance. So every student will have to get vocational capacities developed along with the academic capacities when NEP is implemented. So lot of things are given. What is vocational knowledge? What is vocational competencies? So those are very clearly defined. I will skip some of the slides because otherwise our other part we will not be able to do. Now second classification very clearly given is technical education. Now, the technical education is distinct from vocational education as well as professional education. The technical education include degree and diploma in engineering, technology, management, architecture, town planning, pharmacy, hotel management, catering technology, etc. They are generally we prepare the student in technical education for job roles involving applied science and modern technology. It emphasizes understanding of practical applications of basic principles of science mathematics rather than attainment of proficiency in manual, you can say manual skills. In case of vocational education, the focus is of attainment of proficiency on manual skills, while in case of technical education, it is about application of principles of science and use of modern technology. So technical education is also distinct from professional education. Professional education is something you can say the more emphasis is on theory, understanding, principle, while whole body of subject matter designed to equip graduate to practice authoritatively in field of science, engineering, law, or medicine. Now, what is the important aspect of professional education? Because all of us belong to professional education. Is say what is the common thread between medical practitioners, architect, you can say with the engineer, is the trust which people put on us. When we go to doctor, we 100% trust him. Whatever medicine the doctor prescribed, we never question whether he is giving me poison or whether he is giving me which will make me better. When we travel in any, you can say vehicle, we never think that whether this vehicle will break down. We have got trust. When architect design a building, we have trust. So trust is a common thing. So that is why ethics and importance of public cause is most important component of professional education, which otherwise you will not find it as trust given in technical or vocational education. So that is why it centrally involves critical and interdisciplinary thinking, discussion, debate, research, and innovation. So to achieve this, NEP says professional education should not take place in isolation of one specialty. What is the takeaway? Probably standalone engineering colleges will not be there in future. They all will become multidisciplinary educational institution because NEP strongly believes that professional education should not be given in isolation. This is what is the concept about professional education. Now, they have mentioned even about what do we mean by courses. In Indian higher education systems, the courses are categorized in two parts. One is STEM courses, so broad term of science, technology, engineering, mathematics. and it encompasses related to those subjects and morely experimental and research-based learning also. And other are called as non-STEM courses. They are offered in disciplines such as commerce, art, business management, humanities, and social, you can say, affairs. They are generally called as non-STEM. And marketing, English, journalism, language, these are all degrees of various profession. They are generally called as non-STEM courses. So take away from whatever we had discussed for last 10-15 minutes is that we have understood what do education mean in case of NEP. Very clearly it is defined. It is the manifestation of divine perfection already in human being. And it is to be done, that manifestation is to be done through three, you can say, measures. One is cognitive domain measure, second is skill, and third is value system. And what do we mean by higher education? Very clearly given. It will be of higher order in case of all three domains. We have to create student, we have to prepare student in for three main purposes. First purpose is they should be ready for their future job role. They should lead happy life, and they should be economically independent. That is the mandate given. Now, various type of higher education types are given: vocational education, technical education, professional education, various courses in those types, STEM courses and non-STEM courses, and integration and multidisciplinary education. No stand-alone education is the mandate given by NEP. So when we will go for implementation of it, we have to be very sure that we operate under these guidelines. Now, when we have understood what is education, what are higher education, we have also touched that NEP only always talks about these three domains. What are those three domains on which the education is, you can say, developed? One is cognitive domain, second is psychomotor domain, and third is affective domain. Why we should understand this? Because when we will design curriculum, or when we will see the verticals of NEP given by government, that you should have ability enhancement courses, we should have vocational skill enhancement courses, we should have elective courses. You will find the base for giving those seven verticals are these three domains. One is cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. Cognitive means knowledge domain. So two types of knowledge: descriptive knowledge, other is procedural knowledge. So descriptive knowledge is expressed through theory, concept, principle. That way of knowledge is descriptive knowledge. But the focus is not remembering the fact, but ability to reason why these facts are true. So this is the base of cognitive domain, that is descriptive domain. Second is procedural knowledge. One was descriptive knowledge, other is procedural knowledge, means knowing how to communicate, how to think critically. So abilities and skills acquired through this form of knowledge enables us to act based on our understanding. So usually procedural knowledge is used in context of embodied abilities like problem solving, reasoning, critical thinking, problem solving. So in knowledge domain, we will be dealing with two types. One will be descriptive knowledge, other will be procedural knowledge. So when we design the curriculum, when we deliver the curriculum, we have to ensure that the knowledge component has both descriptive knowledge component as well as procedural knowledge component. Now this cognitive domain is also having level based. So those who are aware about Bloom's taxonomy, NEP has taken many things from Bloom's also. The cognitive domain has got lowest level, that is knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. You will find that in this taxonomy, remembering is lowest. So when we will assess the student, or when we will, you can say, deliver our curriculum, the memory based thing, recalling the information, has to be least important. So when we write down our course outcome, it is not expected that we should write at the end of my class, student will be able to recall, will be able to restate, or the student will be recite. In schools, we say, okay, tell the table of 17, recite certain poem. Probably up to level 3, it will be acceptable. But in higher level, so the questions, assessment questions, like write the Newton's law or state the Archimedes principle, probably those will not be appreciated, because memory based learning, is memory not important? Important. But is it sufficient? Not sufficient. In higher education, the levels of, you can say, cognitive learning, remembering is considered to be lowest. Above that, understand. Above that, apply. So our aim, when we will write our course outcome, at the end of learning this subject, students will be able to remember anything, don't put. Understand, put 1 or 2 maximum. Will be able to apply, you can put few. Our education system was revolving around bottom 3 stages of cognitive learning: remembering, understanding, and applying. But when we say that we are implementing NEP, when we are implementing level-based education, it means we will be operating mainly in higher education in the stages of analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So when I say accountability is one pillar, probably a day may come when we will have to show our assessment tools, our question papers, and our laboratory and other, you can say, regular practices. And if we revolve around remembering, understanding, applying, we will be termed as no, we have not done correct, and we may be accountable for it. So remember one thing, we will have to operate in the area of applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating as we go from first year to second year to third year to fourth year. So we are not going only year by year, we will be going level by level. So this is the takeaway from first domain. Now, second important domain is skills domain, that is psychomotor domain. It is about capacity or a skill. Now, what is more important is the ability needs to be consistent, repeatable, adaptable to the different situations. So from that point of view, we have to ensure and show that our students have ability to successfully apply not just once, but many times consistently and accurately, and they should be able to work with different materials and different numbers. So these are the things we will have to ensure when we will give the practical or training or skilling to the student. Competencies are learning achievements that are observable and can be assessed systematically. So these will be competencies will be attained at the end of curricular, end of every stage, and competencies are to be articulated in our curriculum framework. And learning outcomes are, these competencies are attained over a period of time, so they are the interim markers, but learning outcomes are granular milestones of learning, and they progress in sequence to leading to attainment of competency. So these two terminologies we should very clearly understand what is psychomotor domain is expected, difference between competencies and learning outcomes. Again, as per Bloom's, it will also be having 7 stages. In case of psychomotor domain also, perception, set, guided response, mechanism, complete overt response, adoption and organization. In higher education, the bottom three, set, get, set, go, as we call generally in any for school competition. So that type of doing skilling, somebody is telling, a student is only repeating, get, set, and do under guided response. Those are lower stages of skill domain also. So we have to ensure that we operate in higher domain of skill also, that is mechanism, you can say complete overt response, adoption and organization. So when we will design our curriculum or when we will implement, we have to ensure that in second domain, skilling domain, because in engineering colleges, we are more towards this psychomotor domain. But level, everybody should understand that we have to operate under top 4 levels. Bottom 3 levels operation will not be accepted when NEP will be completely implemented. Third domain, let us understand, that is affective values and dispositions domain. It is very important, considered to be very important in NEP. So all curriculum, irrespective of which program we are talking about, will have this domain also. Now, effective action needs strong motivation in addition to knowledge and capacity. So in earlier domains, we had seen how knowledge and capacities will be developed. But values and dispositions are the sources of motivation. Values are beliefs, what is right and wrong, while dispositions are attitude and perception that form the basis of behavior. So let us understand the difference between values and disposition. So the values are belief, but the dispositions are the basis for formation of behavior. And it is expected that how a person behaves and what are their value system when they go to their profession will be based on the type of education which any individual gets. So if somebody does not behave properly later on, accountability will be we, the educators. Again, affective domains also is having 5 stages: receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and internalizing. Again, for school education, receiving, responding is important, but for higher education, valuing, organizing, and internalizing will be the important stages of this domain also. Now, just at this stage, let us understand the 3 domains and various stages of each domain, how they are in level-based education, how they are converted into practical thing. At the last part of our session, we will be able to appreciate. But presently, we must appreciate now that up till now, if we end with our first part of our session, that we have understood evolution of national education policy. In national education policy, we have understood what is the concept of education. We have understood when once we have understood concept of education, various types of education, STEM, non-STEM courses, various disciplines, and NEP envisages integration of, it will be a multidisciplinary, it will not be stand alone. And we have understood there are 3 domains of education, and each domain is equally important when we say that NEP is implemented. So our curriculum will necessarily have courses in 3 domains: knowledge domain, skill domain, and value-based domain. And in each domain, there are levels. Right from there will be certain levels which are relevant for school education, but for higher education, we will be operating in higher stages of each of these domains. This is what is the takeaway from our first part. So if we understand evolution, pillars, you can say domains and levels of each domain, on that basis, our future discussion will be, it will be easy for us to interact and understand next part of it. So here we will stop for if any question answer, or we will take break for 5 minutes, and then we will start with the various frameworks under which all of us will be operating. Ankit, is it okay?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, yes,
Please ask participants if they have got any
yes,
question. This part we can
yes.
discuss for a few minutes.
Yeah, yes. So, participants, we will go for the break. Before going to break, on the first part of this session, if you have any question or the queries or some specific observation, you can note down here. Anyone, please. Is there anyone? Yes, is there anyone who has any question or the queries with regards to first part of this session? Or you have any kind of observation, you can note down here. Friends, we have organized this course for your betterment, and we think that if the discussions will not happen here, it will not see that there are two possibilities, that you have understand everyone, each and everything, or nothing else, or nobody is listening. So,
Sir, I have one question.
yeah, yeah, please,
So
yes, sir.
my question is related to the objective and the course objective and the course outcome. So, is it required to like put a BT level in case of the objective, like
No,
for the
please, what I understand is that you are asking whether level is expected to be written. Is it like that?
it is not like that. I mean to say, if I'm going to write down a course objective,
Right.
does it required that I should follow a certain verbs in
Yeah,
case of
yeah.
the course objective?
See, they
And
are
what kind of the level I need to set if I'm going to write some course objective for some random subject,
right.
and what will be the effect due to that verbs on the course outcome?
Right. Number one, whenever you will design any course, ensure that it deals with all three domains as far as possible. Otherwise, in a complete curriculum, different domains can also be included. But number one, it's very clear that we have to design courses which will take care of all three domains. Now, coming to any particular course, suppose we say that, okay, there is some knowledge, cognitive knowledge is of course will be there when we have got that course. So if I write down the course objective related to cognitive domain, please ensure that your lower level, such as after learning this course, the student will be able to. This is the starting statement for any course objective. Now, there may be for each unit one or two course objective. Overall, if there are 6 units, I am writing 5 to 6 objectives. Please ensure that do not write after learning my course, student will be able to memorize this law. This cannot be your course objective of higher education. So memorize, that is the lowest level, do not write. If it is new concepts are being introduced in that subject, suppose that subject is something first time a learner is learning. In that case, you may have, after learning this subject, student will be able to understand. So first objective can be to understand if it is a new subject, and what is that you are expecting the student to understand. So one of the objectives can be to understand. Second one or two can be after learning this subject, the student will be able to apply. Some can be, now these are again lower level objectives, because but since the subject is new, first time being introduced, it will be welcome. Absolutely, there is nothing wrong if we say that my objective is to make student understand or make them to apply something. There is nothing wrong, but it will be better if the subject is of final year you are writing. Our objective has to be, after learning this subject or course, the student will be able to solve, will be able to analyze, will be able to compare, will be able to synthesize. So if this type of objective words are used, then it will be better when we design. And according to that, the tone of the learning and assessing will go. Nilesh sir, I hope, does it satisfy your queries to some extent?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Obviously. So, I was really confused between the second year and the third year and the final year, kind of the course objective and course outcome. But now it is clear. Thank you so much.
Sir, because it is level based, no? First
Mhm.
year objectives will be different and final year objectives will be different. Because
Ah,
student is gone from level 4.5 to level 5.5.
mhm.
Obviously, the student has reached higher level, so his
Mhm.
objectives will also be higher
Ah,
level.
higher. Depending on the prerequisite subject, I
Yeah,
guess.
right, right.
Yeah, right? Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, anyone else? Sir, I think we will stop here and we'll continue sharp at 4 p.m. or you will told us the time.
Yes, yes. At 4 we will start, because let people take some break
Yes,
for
sir.
5 or 7 minutes.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, participants, we will reassemble here sharp at 4 p.m. and we will continue with this session on the another part. Thank you, everyone. And sharp 4 p.m. we will start.
Ankit ji, should we start?
Yes,
Friends?
sir. Yes, sir, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So let us begin our second part of our today's session. That is implementation of now NEP. Now we have understood the philosophy and pillars and what is expected out of it. Now how to go about it. So for implementation of NEP, the authorities have provided us, you can say, certain framework. Let us understand one point from this slide. It is a national policy. So there are many institutions in various states, in various universities. There are some central universities, state universities, private universities, autonomous colleges, affiliated colleges, and everybody has to be brought into one framework. So for that, our authorities have provided various types of framework and credit framework, qualification framework, and curriculum framework. These are the three frameworks everybody of us will be working. Our autonomy, whether we are university college or autonomous college, is there, but it is subject to be remaining under these three framework. So let us understand these frameworks. First and foremost framework is credit framework. Now this credit framework is given by the document National Credit Framework. You will find it is the based on the report having members from UGC, AICT, NCVT, and all, you can say, Ministry of Education, everybody. Now, this common report, accepted by all statutory regularity authorities, have given a national level credit framework. Now, the basic principle is that the credits are function of achieving desired learning outcomes for a program, for a course, for a training, any training determined by the successful assessment. So what are the keywords we have to understand? That it is for every, you can say, let it be training, let it be course, or let it be program. And it will be based on the desired learning outcome. So learning outcomes are to be designed first for every training course or program. It is to be assessed, and on successful assessment only some credit of regarding that you can say learning will be given. So this is the basic principle of this credit framework. Now from where the credits can be earned? The credits can be earned by virtue of completing academic education or undergoing vocational education, training or skilling program, or by virtue of any relevant experiential learning, including experience, proficiency, profession levels acquired. So from wherever learning happens, if assessment is done and that learning happens with desired learning outcome, designed learning outcome, then credits have to be given. So these are the dimensions of credit work. How they are connected with hours of learning and credit? Now, in accordance with the international best practice, remember one thing, it is alignment with international level. So you will now recall evolution of NEP. So after mapping with international best practices, the framework suggests that number of credits per year for 1200 learning hours will be 40. So everybody of us will be operating under this one single principle. Earlier, we used to call one academic year. Now that one academic year we used to call as 2 semesters. Henceforth, we will be calling one academic years as minimum 1200 learning hours. So when we will design any syllabus for 1 year, it should must show 1200 learning hours. And after, it must show the desired learning outcomes. So after assessment and attainment of desired learning outcome from 1200 learning hours, the credit of 40 can be given. So accordingly, every semester, now year has got 2 semesters. So every semester will comprise of minimum 20 credits and minimum 600, you can say, notional learning hours. Any additional program, course undertaken by the student learner beyond 1200 learning hours or beyond the purview of course syllabus can also be considered as additional credit. So fast learner can earn additional credit, but every learner will have to earn minimum 1200 learning hours and 40 credit. So this is the first principle of notional learning hours and credit assignment. So for every 1200 learning, student will earn 40 credit, of course, after successful assessment. And credit points will be credit earned multiplied by the level. So depending upon if it is level 4.5, level 5, level 5.5, the credits point will change. It will go higher and higher, but credits will remain minimum 40 per learning hour. What do we understand by learning hours? So what are the components of learning? It can be classroom teaching learning hours or tutorials, lab work, practical, innovation lab, project, incubation lab, yearly, half-yearly examination, class test, quiz, other assessment, including formative assessment, activities which will lead to experiential learning, like professional level, performing art, fine art, music, handicraft, traditional heritage, debate, essay writing, recitation, story writing, celebration of festival, hackathon, Olympiad, drama, contest, self-defense classes, value classes. So everything and anything from where learning happens comes under component of learning, and that will also be considered as learning hour in those 1200 learning hours. Sports, games, life skills, social community, field visit, project, internship, apprenticeship. So all comes under components of learning, and those hours are also considered in 600 learning hours per semester or 1200 learning hours per year. So if I summarize it, so for one semester, there are minimum 600 learning hours. We know that there are minimum 90 teaching days. So 600 learning hours from 90 teaching days. Our per semester learning weeks for 90 teaching days comes to 15 to 18. So minimum learning hours per week should be minimum 34 to 40. That is why government resolution of 20th April clearly directs the university and all that our weekly learning or contact hour, not really contact hour, but learning hour should be minimum 35. What is the takeaway for us? When we prepare the scheme of teaching learning, we prepare two schemes, teaching learning and other examination evaluation. So in our teaching learning scheme, the total of contact hours, actually theory plus practical, may be around 29-30, but add to it assessment, etc. Our scheme of teaching learning should not be less than 35 hours per week. Please take it important note, because when the question of equivalency of programs and degrees and levels will come, if our scheme shows less than 35 learning hours per week, even though our credits may be same, but other university will say any scheme with less than 35 learning hours per week will not be considered as equivalent, even though credits are shown to be same. So this is important point for all of us to note. And how learning hours are related with credit for theory and tutorial. 1 hour is equivalent to 1 credit. What does it mean? In our teaching learning scheme, suppose we have got a subject with 3 hours. We show LTP. So lectures 3 hours. That course will be of 3 credit course if it is theory. How it comes 3 hours equal to 3 credit? 3 hours per week multiply 15 weeks per semester. So 3 into 15. So 45 learning hours. So for theory, 15 hours of learning per semester equivalent to 1 credit. So 45 divided by 15 again equal to 3. Therefore, 3 hours weekly course entails student to earn 3 credit. For laboratory or practical, 2 hours is weekly 2 hours is equal to 1 credit. What is the how it comes 2 hours equal to 1 credit? If the student learns 2 hours of practical per week, there are 15 weeks in a semester. So 15 into 2, 30. And for practicals, 30 hours of one semester is equal to 1 credit. So 30 divided by 30 becomes again 1 credit. That is why weekly 1 hour of theory for whole semester, that is 15, you can say 15 hours makes 1 credit for theory, and 30 hours of learning per semester gives 1 credit for laboratory and practical. I hope this is how learning hours are mapped with credit, but after successful assessment of ensuring attainment of desired learning outcome. So specifying learning outcome and assessing those attainment of learning outcome are important and integral part of credit system. So learning hour and credit, assessment and attainment. These are the 4 things we have to ensure when we allot the credit. Now, once we have understood what is credit framework, let us understand the qualification framework. This you can refer if anybody is interested to this book, which is available on UGC website, From Concepts to Implementation, Handbook for National Qualifications Framework Developer. And this is with special reference to India. It means it is a part of global exercise. So again, as credit framework was aligned with global standard, so qualification framework is also getting aligned with international standard. Now in this framework, everything, what do we mean by qualification and what is that qualification, what is framework of qualification, what is national qualification framework, what is qualification framework for vocational education, for skill education, for higher education, for each type of education, the qualification framework is provided. So let us try to understand what does qualification mean in NEP, in National Qualification Framework. Now, qualification traditionally sense successful completion of prescribed program of study or training program offered by educational institution. We also traditionally sense that qualifications are awards with broad discipline-free nomenclature such as certificate, diploma, bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctoral degree. These are all we traditionally sense that this is what we mean by qualification. Also, we understand that qualification is awarded by competent authority, such as college, university, as recognition of attainment by student of the expected learning outcome on successful completion of particular program of study. So this is important part of qualification framework. The it should be assessed and attainment of expected learning outcome after assessment will only be considered as successful completion of program of study, and depending upon the level and attainment of expected outcome, the awards will be provided, and that will decide whether it is certificate, diploma, degree or master's degree. So competent authority word is important. Attainment of expected learning outcome is important, and successful completion of duration, that is learning hour, is important. So these three are the important parameter which will make a student to get qualified for certain award. This is the concept of qualification. So they will be awarded only after assessment and evaluation of learning level by competent authority. So now it is very clearly given in NEP that competent authority should be there. Of course, competent authority will be given by regularity authority. Nobody can himself claim that I am competent. So presently, colleges, institutions, universities are competent authority. Tomorrow, national testing agencies may also be called as competent authority. They can also, you can say, evaluate and say that, okay, student has attained a certain learning level. Now, each qualification will be aligned with academic credit system based on attainment of defined learning outcome and academic workload of student who complete the chosen program. See, very, very clear specifications are given. Academic workload, that is learning hours, defined learning outcomes, its attainment, and it will be related with credit system. For theory, 15 learning hours per semester, 1 credit for practical, and it will depend upon the level also. So this is how qualifications will be defined, and they will signify the competence to follow any occupational practice. Now, once we have understood what is qualification, what is concept of qualification, let us understand what is this qualification framework. I just take a pause and repeat. We have understood what is credit. We have understood what is credit framework. We have understood for one semester minimum 600 learning hours will entail minimum 20 credit. Below that, there cannot be a semester less than 600 learning hour and less than 20 credit. There cannot be any program. And learning per week has to be minimum learning hour. That was for credit framework. For qualification, we have understood what is qualification. So it is award. Maybe different, maybe certificate, diploma, degree, what that award depends upon other factor. But important part is attainment of learning outcomes depending upon the level, and that attainment is through assessment by competent authority after completion of learning hours, academic duration by that learner. So depending on these three parameter, qualification level will be decided. And now there will be various qualification depending upon level, like certificate, diploma, degree, postgraduate, diploma, postgraduate degree, doctoral. So these are the various qualification, and structuring of this qualification is called as qualification framework. Now, national qualification framework will put all these framework in a standard framework, and everybody of us will be bound by that framework. So it is a way of structuring existing and any new qualifications which are defined by learning outcomes, reflecting graduate profiles, attributes, program learning outcome, course learning outcome. That is the statement of what learner is expected to know, understand, able to do, demonstrate on successful completion of approved program. So structuring of those is called as qualification framework. It will be competency-based education and training, and outcome-based learning constitute the important aspects of qualification framework. Remember, qualification has got attributes. Qualification framework also has got its attributes. Like this framework will be on competency-based education training and outcome-based learning. Knowledge, skill, values, attitude. Right from the beginning, these are the domains of education. So knowledge, skill, value, attitude possessed by individual students are more important than modes of acquiring them. This is very, very critical statement for we the institute people. A student need not necessarily acquire these attributes through formal mode, that is by attending college. It can be through informal mode. It can be through non-formal mode. It can be through open mode. It can be through distant mode. Mode is made least important than acquiring the, you can say, attribute. That is what is the basic fundamental principle of this framework. Now, qualifications will be given by certain specifications. So those are the statements of the typical achievement of learner who have been awarded a qualification on successful completion of a program of study leading to award of qualification such as certificate, diploma, bachelor degree, master's degree, or doctoral degree. So let us understand what is now national qualification framework, because it will be applicable to each and every type of education. Let it be vocational education, let it be skill education, let it be technical education, let it be general academic education, let it be professional education. Everybody will be governed under this national qualification framework. So this national qualification framework is instrument for classification of qualifications according to a set of criteria for specified level of learning achievement, which would integrate and coordinate the qualification from each education and training sector into a single comprehensive qualification framework. Very clearly mentioned. So this single comprehensive qualification framework will be operative in India when we say that NEP is implemented here. Now, let us understand what this national qualification framework is all about. To understand this national qualification framework, we will have to little bit understand what is the international qualification framework. Friends, now you will appreciate that our initial discussion, how NEP got evolved, we will see that it is aligning our education system with global education system. So India has developed its national qualification framework in alignment with international qualification framework. This international qualification framework is known as Bologna process. It is European higher education area for their European Union countries' national qualification framework. That is Bologna process. India has aligned its national qualification framework with European because globally it is more acceptable. Now, in this international Bologna framework, The qualification descriptors are called as Dublin descriptors. So our qualification descriptors in many ways get aligned with Dublin descriptors. And what are these Dublin descriptors? They are general statement about the learning outcome which are achieved by the student after completing the curriculum of study while obtaining that qualification. Of course, those statements will be in three domains. One will be knowledge domain, other will be skill domain statement, and third will be behavior, values, dispositions related statement. So domains remain same. Statements are given what is expected in each domain. Now, sir had asked earlier that question, what about our course outcome? Now, when we will understand this, that time what verbs are to be used, it will get more clearer now. Now, Dublin has given 5 descriptors. Now, they are a student. Now, any qualification will be awarded to the student who have demonstrated knowledge and understanding in a field of studies which is built on after their general secondary education, because it is for higher education and is typically at a level while supported by advanced textbook, includes some aspect that will be informed by knowledge of the forefront of their field of study. So how it will be, our qualification will be checked later on, accountability. Probably what type of textbook we have mentioned in our syllabus from which teaching learning has happened, that is also important. Then they will say that, okay, your one descriptor of knowledge and understanding is okay. Second, can apply their knowledge and understanding. So that itself very clearly state what should be our course objective in a manner that indicates a professional approach to their work or vocation, and have competencies typically demonstrated through devising and sustaining arguments and solving problems within their field of study. So our course objective has to be, after studying this subject, the student will be able to solve whatever problem related to our field of study we should write, and we should ensure that in our assessment that problem solving is also there. Then third is the student who has ability to gather and interpret relevant data, usually within their field of study, to inform judgment that include reflection on relevant social, scientific, and ethical issues, can communicate information, idea, problem, solution to both specialized and non-specialized audience. So we have to ensure that one of our course objective maybe is depending upon, of course, the subject for which we are writing, our seminar, presentation, that will be the way of assessment, and have developed learning skills that are necessary for them to continue to undertake further study with higher degree of lifelong learning. So these are the qualification descriptors which are European nation, Dublin descriptors. Now we have to understand those descriptors, because that is the base on which our descriptors are now specified. So takeaway for this qualification framework is that we have understood what do we mean by qualification. We have understood when those qualifications can be awarded depending upon level, depending upon learning hours, depending upon assessment of attainment of learning of, you can say, objective outcomes, and then only by a competent authority. If those components are fulfilled, then that qualification will be valid. Now, qualifications, depending upon the level, can give from certificate to doctorate. So, in a comprehensive way, for various types of education, they have put into one comprehensive framework, that is National Qualification Framework. Now, this framework will have qualification descriptors also, depending upon whether it is certificate or whether it is doctorate. Now, those descriptors are taken from European countries descriptor, Bologna process or Dublin descriptors. On that basis, our national qualification framework in India is framed. So with that take away, let us go and understand national qualification framework in India. Why should we understand? Because all of us will be operating under this framework. Now NQF is given for vocational education also. So you will find NQVETF for vocational education. National vocation qualification is also, so we have NVQF also. Vocational education qualification is also there. NVEQF is there. National skills, now all above are converted into NSQF, that is National Skills Qualification Framework. And finally, India has come out with National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEQF also. So for us, NSQF and NHEQF are applicable. So let us understand what are NSQF and NHEQF. They are quite similar because they have standardized it now. Earlier differences were there, but now they are aligned and they are almost both have been made common. Earlier, somewhere in 2013, India has come out with NVEQF. You will find it is after international labor organizations and international institutions discussions, agreements, this framework had come up. Here you will find the recognition of prior learning is there, and that framework was from level 1 to 10. Level up to 3 or 2 was up to then class 10. Level 3, 4, 5 was diploma. 6, 7 was advanced diploma. 8, 9 was PG diploma, and 10 was degree. See, remember, this is for NVEQF. For us, this is not applicable. For us, NSQF and NHEQF is applicable. But since NSQF and NHEQF came after NVEQF, just for understanding purpose, how Indian qualification framework system has evolved, for that purpose only we have taken. Now it was converted into, say, from grade 5 to doctorate later on, and governing bodies were university or other thing. So for us, from level 1 was grade 9 and level 10 was doctorate in case of NVEQF, which came into existence somewhere in 2012-13. But NEP came after 14 and ultimately accepted as a policy in 2020. So changes made in NVEQF to align with NSQF and NHEQF, we will see it. Now, important is NSQF for us because that will be applicable to us. So what is this NSQF? So it is National Skill Qualification Framework, is outcome competency based framework. Remember, now we are going towards competency based education, and it organizes qualification according to the level. So we are going towards competency based education, we are going towards level based education, and levels are of knowledge, skill and responsibility. So cognitive, psychomotor and affinitive level, you can say domains. Defined learning outcome which the learner must acquire through formal, non-formal, informal mode of learning is redundant now, it's not important, which may comprise of academics, vocational, skilling, experiential learning. So any type of learning is acceptable, including relevant experience and you can say prolific professional levels acquired subject to assessment. So assessment is important component of NSQF also. Now these levels are defined in terms of learning outcome which learner must possess regardless of whether they acquire to formal, non-formal mode. NSQF is quality assurance framework. Now what are those levels? Now earlier they were from 1 to 10, now they have modified in 2023 and it incorporates both provisions of NEP and National Credit Framework. So combining these two, in 2023, NSQF has come out and it shows from level 1 to 8. Now, level 1 to 2.5 and 3, generally they are for school education. 3.5, 4, 4.5, after 10th, say 3 years diploma or 10 plus 2. So if it is 10 plus 2, it will be level 4. If it is diploma, 10 plus 3 diploma, it will be level 3.5 first year of diploma, second year level 4, and level 4.5 you will be your third year of diploma. So what does it mean? It means level 4 is equivalent to anything 10 plus 2, maybe 12, maybe in diploma, maybe experiential, but it has to be after assessment. In case of 12th, it is assessed. In case of diploma, polytechnics, it is assessed. So level 5, level 4.5 will be our first year. Level 5, level 0.5, 6, 6.5, 7, and level 8 is doctorate. Now, each level represents different level of skills, complexity, knowledge, responsibility, and autonomy required to demonstrate the competency. Level 1 of the framework represents the lowest complexity, while level 8 represents the highest complexity. So this is how complete education system from school education to doctorate will be converted into level-based education and competency-based education. And for us, level 3 will be equivalent to 10, and our first year after 12 will be equivalent to level 4.5. So our first year will be equivalent to 4.5, our second year will be equivalent to level 5, something like that. So this is how NQF and NSQF, both now they lead to NHEQF, National Higher Education Qualification. Now, once we have understood NQF and NSQF, it is not difficult to understand NHEQF because they are almost similar. Now, as National Qualification Framework will, you can say, gives a single comprehensive qualification framework for various types of education. Similarly, NHEQF is also instrument which recognizes the qualification along with a continuum level of 4.5 to 8 for higher education. Level 1 to 4 is in school education. So NHEQF is also from level 1 to 8 like NSQF. 1 to 4 up to 12 there also, here also. So NSQF is made aligned with NHEQF. Now we will understand NHEQF little bit in detail because we have to understand in levels as well as their specification, those statements also depending upon the level. Now, what are the characteristics of NHEQF, National Higher Education Qualification? Is that higher education qualifications such as certificate, diploma, degrees are awarded based on, understand this is important, demonstrated achievement of learning outcome. So learning outcome have to be designed, and through assessment by competent authority, we have to ensure achievement of learning outcome. So now flow of syllabus framing is very clear. Any program, we have to first write down what are the program outcome. Depending upon that program, we will have to write down course outcome. So first we have to design and define what the student will be able to do, know, understand. So first outcome have to be defined. Learning has to happen. Learning has to be for specified learning hours. After that, it has to be assessed to ensure attainment of those expected outcome. Then only credits and qualification is to be awarded depending upon the level. This is the fundamental premise of NHEQF. It represents comprehensive framework that classifies qualification based on set of performance criteria, approved nationally and comparable with international quality standards. Please go back to pillars of NEP. This is everything is alignment with international standard. We are going towards globalization. So our criteria have to be approved nationally and they should be comparable with international quality standard. That is why at national level this framework and qualification specifications are given. We don't have to design any qualification statement or any program objective or outcome. Those will be given, those are given by authorities. We have to add. We cannot say my credit is something different. They have provided 15 learning hours per semester means 1 credit. For practical 30 means 2 credit. You cannot change. They will say that these are the qualification specifications and you have to use those specifications when we design. So depend upon those specifications only, we have to teach, students have to learn, we have to assess and we have to map, and then only we can give any certificate diploma. This is the standardized procedure for all institutions in the country and they are made comparable with international qualification. So they specify qualification type and framework level and the expected learning outcome corresponding to this qualification. So this framework gives you all these things and we have to fit ourselves into this framework. Now let us see what are those levels, qualification and descriptors given nationally by regularity authority which are in alignment with international standards. Say for example, since we are talking about only higher education, I will not talk about anything up to level 4 because that is for school. Level 4 means 12. So their qualification specifications are different. Now, in case of higher education, level 4.5 means undergraduate certificate. Duration will be 1 year. That is first year, first 2 semesters of undergraduate program followed by exit 4 credit skill enhancement course. Throughout India, a student who has passed 12th standard examination and enters in first year of higher education, or any student who have passed 10th standard examination plus 2 years of experiential, you can say learning, non-formal learning, but proven that he has attained level 4 by National Testing Agency, will enter into first year of undergraduate program. And his first year, the student first year will consist of 2 semesters. So 600 learning hours first semester, 600 learning hours second semester. So 1200 learning hours. And if the student exit, he will have to earn additional 4 credit. Now we know 4 credit means 30 into 4, 120 learning hours for skill enhancement. Then he will be awarded with certificate and it will be said that he has attained level 4.5. Level 5 means undergraduate diploma. Means a student completes 2 years of undergraduate program. That is first 2 years. So first, second, third and fourth semester. It means 600 plus 600 plus 600 plus 600. That is 2,400 learning hours. Assessment, successful passing and 4 credit course for 2 months. We can exit and get diploma. That will be level 5. Level 5.5 will be 3 years program. So like that, levels and qualifications are converted. Now those you will find level 6 is there, level 6.5 is there, then level 7 is there, and level 8 is also there, doctoral degree. So levels are provided, duration learning hours are provided, plus credits are provided. These have been made into standard comprehensive qualification framework. Now, this is applicable to each and every institute in the country, and they are aligned with international standard. So, acceptable to international standard also. Now, we have understood level and their qualification. Now, let us understand what are the learning outcomes and specifications, those statements related with each level. Now, higher education qualification leading to certificate, diploma, degree shall be described in terms of learning outcomes. Let it be NSQF or NHEQF. Each level is structured based on the defined learning outcomes, that is, statements of what the learner is expected to know, understand, or will be able to do on successful completion of this approved program. The student should be able to demonstrate graduate attributes defined in terms of expected learning outcome. Friends, remember one thing, these graduates attributes we don't have to define. Our national regularity authorities have provided us with the required graduate attributes which each level of qualification. Expected learning outcomes are also given. So we have to fit ourselves into this level. Now, this is important, that what are the descriptors. Now, for as I was telling you, for NVEQF, it was already there. On this basis only and Dublin descriptors basis, our descriptors are given. So I will not go into NVEQF. We will go into NSQF, NHEQF. Now this NSQF and NHEQF level descriptors are in aligned with international standard Bologna process or Dublin descriptors only. So they are based on 5 domains and they are known as level descriptors. Those learning outcomes depend upon the level, but domains are there. What are those domains? Professional, of course, it will be knowledge, skill, and behavior. Professional theoretical knowledge, professional technical skills expertise, aptitude, mindset, soft skills, employment readiness, entrepreneurship skill, broad learning outcomes, and level of responsibility. Now, see, what do we mean by professional theoretical knowledge? Because descriptor will be based, there will be 5 descriptors, and first is theoretical knowledge. Those statements will based on this. It is what learner should know and understand with reference to subject or field of knowledge. It is described in terms of depth, breadth, kind of knowledge, and complexity. Depth of knowledge can be general or specialized. See, as he goes higher and higher, PhD very specialized, postgraduate more, you can say, broader, final year graduate little bit specialized, but first year more general, not very high specialized. So depending upon, you can say, level, whether it is general or specialized will get decided, and depending upon that, depth of knowledge required will also be decided. Breadth of knowledge can range from single topic to multidisciplinary area of knowledge. Kind of knowledge range from concrete to abstract, from segmented to cumulative. Complexity refers to combination of kind, depth, and breadth. So our statement, qualification statement on this domain of theoretical knowledge will based on this, you can say, 6 points. Second is professional skills or technical skills or expertise, what a learner should be able to do. So cognitive creative skills involving use of intuitive, logical, critical thinking, communication skill, written, oral, literary, literacy, numeracy, interpersonal skills, generic skills learner should possess, basic skills involving dexterity and use of method, material, tools, instrument for performing a job, including IT skills needed for a given level of study and work. So these statements will be there on these 2 points, considering these 4 points. Skills based on these 4 points depending upon the level. Third is aptitude, mindset, soft skill, employment readiness, and entrepreneurship. Generic employment readiness, entrepreneur skills and mindset, digital, financial, legal literacy, entrepreneurship, inclusion, diversity, life skills. Fourth is broad learning outcome. And fifth is level of responsibility. Responsibility that the learner can be entrusted. So it is a certificate level or a diploma level or a degree level or postgraduate level. What level of responsibility the learner is expected to be entrusted with should be very clearly specified. And the point on which those qualification specifications should be there is the degree of supervision person needs when doing a job. Degree of supervision person is capable of exercising over others. It determines nature of working relationship, level of responsibility for self and others, managing change and accountability for action. All these have to be very clearly specified before any curriculum for any level is to be framed. Now, our statutory authorities, regularity authorities have already specified. We will go those things now. Now, learning outcome descriptors for NHEQF. Of course, they will based on three domains as right from the beginning we are talking about. It will be on knowledge domain, skill domain, and affective domain. Now, for cognitive domain, what are the specifications you see? Now, first row, you will find level. Level 4.5, qualification is undergraduate certificate. Level 5, undergraduate diploma. Level 5.5, 3 years bachelor's degree. Now, domain is same, knowledge or understanding. But level you will find goes on changing as we go from level 4.5 to 5. For today's discussion, I am taking only graduate level because considering the time, but it is available up to doctorate. From level 4.5 to level 8, for each domain, expected, you can say qualification descriptors or expected learning outcomes are given by the statutory authorities. Everybody in India will have to follow this framework, and when they prepare the syllabus for any course for first year, that is level 4.5, they have to ensure these qualification descriptors are aligned with that. Say, what does it say? The graduate should be able to demonstrate the acquisition of. Now, the first question when it was asked, answer you will find over here. When you are preparing course outcome for any course, see whether that course is of level 4.5, 5, 5.5 or 6. So your learning outcome will depend upon the level for which the student is learning. And once you say that, okay, I am designing it for level 4.5, that is first year. What is expected in this framework? That after learning your course, the student should be able to demonstrate acquisition of basic concept, basic principles. So that is how your course outcome will be there. After learning this course, student will be able to demonstrate knowledge of fact, concept, principle. So this is what you will be statement. But in case of your second year or third year, you will find the verbs will change because procedural knowledge level will change, performance knowledge will change, expected areas will change. So this is very clearly given in this framework. Say for one level, we will take in detail also. For say psychomotor domain, again you will find if it is first year or level 4.5 or certificate level, or it is third year or level 5.5 or 3 years degree final year level. In case of, you can say application of knowledge and skill, the graduate should be able to demonstrate the acquisition of, apply the knowledge, theoretical knowledge. Obviously, this decides your course objective also. Your learning outcome cannot be different than qualification specification if the student is in level 4.5 or level 5.5 or in case of engineering level 6 final year. So this is what is expected. Say if it is diploma, the student should be able to select and apply basic material tools to formulate solutions. So problem solving is expected. And in case of if it is in third year, he should be able to show that he can employ the right approach to generate solutions to the problem. This is what is expected as a part of our course outcome. Also, they will depend upon the level, that is, you can say year in which that subject is taught or learned. Depending upon that level, our course outcomes will differ. Say in case of skills required to perform and accomplish tasks. So level 4.5, I will not simply read it, you can read it, or I will share all these things also. So for each level, specifications are different. And domain, say this domain, we have to do it in 5 domains, 5 areas. Employment ready, skill on entrepreneurship, skill mindset. So for each level, these are the expected specifications provided to us. We have to follow in this guideline. Now, if I come to affective domain, that is constitutional, human, and ethical values, you will find that level 4.5, the values are told, the candidate should be able to follow the values of the, you can say, the institution in which the person works. But in case of level 5.5, the student is expected to generate the value system, modify the value system, formulate the value system. This is what the expectation will change. Accordingly, our course outcome, our assessment, our questions in examination, they will differ. In lower, and this have to be observed during gathering, during sports. There also we will have to evaluate student, assess the student, make their, you can say, record, and according to that we have to certify that this particular student can be a good team member, he can be a good team lead. If some virtues are not there, say for example, now only one example I will quote. Suppose we talk about, you can say, copying or considered as very bad in case of PhD doctoral thesis. If you have to ensure that you are not copying from somebody, that is very strict for PhD. But does it mean for our first year, second year, if students copy only assignments or they copy practical readings and submit, we evaluate and give them marks? Up till now, probably it was a regular routine practice for everybody, including me. But henceforth, we will have to have some remark, whether it is original, whether it is copying. If it is copying, then don't give group assignment. You add that student to something do on its own. Such type of things will become the part of assessment when we talk about affective domain, value, ethics domain for the student. Now, according to what we have discussed, I will try to give one small example about what will be the redesigning of our undergraduate programs when we say that NEP is completely implemented. Approach. Now, we have already started implementing. I say that in many institutions it is implemented. Probably some corrections or some redesigning will have to be done to get completely ourselves uh, completely telling that yes, we have followed complete NEP. Probably some minor correction may be required at later stage. The concept of designing the undergraduate program, this document is available. Say we are talking about first year, that is level 4.5. So what is expected eligibility for entry? 12th graduate pass or equivalent, or 10th graduate also equivalent. But second condition is if 12th graduates is there, then that student will have to undergo 1200 hours. 1200 hours means one, you can say one academic year. 600 means one semester, in which there should be 120 hours of skilling. If after 10th we have to give such a diploma, what we call, that he has passed, it become equivalent to 4.5. That is first year of engineering and diploma. Presently also it is considered equivalent. The diploma pass student directly come to second year. So 12 plus first year and diploma, they are equivalent. See, because that student has undergone 3600, 3 years, each year of 1200 hours, in which there should be 240 hours of minimum, you can say, internship or experiential learning. So diploma education will have 240 hours. And our first year engineering, if the student wants to go with certificate, will necessarily have 120 hours of, you can say, internship. Then that student will be considered to be achieved level 4.5 or certificate. So if student from first year wants to go exit, can we give him certificate? No. He must pass in all assessment, plus additionally the student will complete 120 hours of internship. Then first year with 120 hours of internship will be termed as cross completed level 4.5 and eligible for certificate. So like this, for each level, say level 4.5 to 5. So what are expected outcomes? Those are also given in chart. For a descriptor, I will give in a better way, so that for one level, that is level 4.5, I will describe and then we will stop for our interaction. What is the qualification descriptor given for level 4.5? Now, I hope when we say level 4.5 means first year after 12, and if the student exit after first year, then 150, 140 hours of internship too. Together, first year pass plus internship will make him eligible for certificate. What is expected? When we will say that our first year student is qualified to get certificate in knowledge and understanding domain, the student should be able to demonstrate acquisition of knowledge of fact, understanding of equation, and procedural knowledge. So our course outcomes should be designed considering this for knowledge understanding. General technical professional skills, second domain. There we have Dublin descriptor. So there are 5 descriptors. Second descriptor. The graduate means certificate holder should be able to demonstrate range of cognitive and technical skills. Cognitive required to identify, analyze, synthesize information. Cognitive and technical skills for selecting using relevant method, tools, material to assess the appropriateness of approaches, solve problem solving associated with chosen field of learning. This is what our first year syllabus should be, and our examination should be to ensure attainment of this quality of second, you can say, qualification statement. Third is application of knowledge and skill. So our first year student should be able to demonstrate to ability to apply operational, technical, theoretical knowledge, practical skills, use basic method, information to generate solution to specific problem. Generic learning outcome. So those are very clearly given, expected from passing of first year student. Constitutional value, employability. So credit requirement will be the successful completion of first year, that is 2 semesters of undergraduate program, should be minimum 40 credit followed by exit 4 credit skill enhancement. So no, you can say university, no institution can have 1 year, or say I call it level 4.5 first year with less than 40 credit. So 20 credit per semester, and 20 credit means 600 hours. Additionally, if student leaves after first year, 4 credit skill enhancement course. Now, in between, you use your autonomy. You put your what courses you want to teach, but qualification descriptors are given. So, if your courses are for skill, what is expected skill? If your courses are for cognitive domain theoretical subject, what are expected? So, depending upon qualification statement, we have to ensure leg breadth, and you will find the verticals of NEP, that is major minor ability enhancement, value education course, vocational skill education course, field visit, etc. All those verticals, and when they should be given, that is provided by government GR 20th April, which is based on all these NEP instruments given. Now you try to correlate GR with this, you will find everything throughout Maharashtra, it becomes uniform. Similar GRs will be for each state. So throughout India, it will be single comprehensive network. Entry requirement for level 4.5 will be successful completion of grade 12 or equivalent, and very important is other entrance requirements. Means tomorrow a student who has come out only 12th or 8th through some our traditional way, after 8th standard, passing 8th standard, student does not go for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, but has earned experiential learning through informal mode, open schooling. Still, that student, after ascertaining that he has attained level 4, can come into first year of university. This is what is the framework. So, what is expected at the end of first year is command proficiency in specialized theoretical skill, routine, non-routine context, factual theoretical knowledge, wide range of cognitive practical skill to find solution, logical mathematical skills, presentation skills. Use of both standard, non-standard practices. There will be a wide range of specialized technical skill, will be responsible for completion of their own work, improvement of performance, full responsibility of other work, to carry out job roles, expected to be able to communicate clearly in speech and writing, and they should be able to collect data, organize information, and communicate logical things. So these are expected by, in you can say, after completion of level 4.5. So what are our course outcomes? These are our course outcomes. What are our syllabus content? Whatever subject you select for your own, you can say engineering or for science or humanity. But in your first year, the student at the end of first year should be able to show this achievement of attainment of this, you can say, parameters. So these are the qualification specifications as per National Higher Education Qualification Framework from level 4.5 to 8 for higher education. It is common for everybody. Who framework is given, we have to fit ourselves into this framework. Last, I will just mention and stop because already 15 minutes are remaining. Last is curriculum framework. That is learning outcome based curriculum framework for undergraduate. I will give just the principle of it. I will not go into detail. Now it is based on outcome based education. It starts with clear statement on what knowledge, skills, and attitude the student will be able to demonstrate as having acquired or successful completion of program app study. They should be clearly measurable. So those are generally given. First three are given. Last one we have to put accordingly. Graduate Attributes or program outcome. We know in NAC and NBA, those are already given. So we have to fit ourselves into those POs. Program educational objectives or mission. Program learning outcome, course outcome, and course learning outcome. So our syllabus framing in LOCF, curriculum framing, will have these 4 stages. Every curriculum will begin with, for that program, what are POs? Next, what are POs for our PLOs or PSOs? And then for each course, what are the COs or CLOs? This is how every syllabus will look like. And the key outcomes underpinning curriculum planning and development will be the learning outcome based curriculum framework is framework based on expected learning outcome and academic standard that are expected to be attained by a graduate of a program or holder of qualification. It includes graduate attributes, qualification descriptors, program learning outcome, and course learning outcome. Under this will be a standard, you can say, framework for each of the institution. Now for your course, you fit other things in between this is what is the autonomy available with us, and accordingly you will find government of Maharashtra has given us verticals for NEP curriculum. If you see 20th April GR or some March GR or some slight modifications later on, but overall, complete that GR, you will see is based on whatever discussions we had today. So the verticals you will find choices of major minor subject for elective, Indian knowledge system, generic and subject specific, multidisciplinary C, internship, field-based, job training, community engagement service, vocational part is included, vocational and skill enhancement, ability enhancements, value ethical life skills, generic open electives to make it more this thing, multidisciplinary and co-curricular courses. So overall, if you just summarize what we had today, now last closing remark I will give and we will open for 5-10 minutes interaction if desired, is we have understood how national education policy got evolved, and there are international commitments including Washington Accord, India's policy of getting globalized, world's policy of sustainable development, world's, or you can say, requirement of use of information technology very, and accepting for, you can say, access and equity, particularly, and affordability, accepting non-formal, informal, open, digital, all modes of learning as equivalent to formal and one-to-one, face-to-face learning, all have been brought to same level. So it is learning centric rather than teaching centric. Now it is not important who teaches, from whom one, you can say, who is the teacher, which is the institution, which is the university. No, academic bank of credit transfer. Important is learning, assessment of learning, achievement of learning objective. So that is where is the first shift which is happening. Second thing, shift, when we say NEP is implementing, is we are going towards competency-based education, level-based education. So now competency and will be in 3 domains. Earlier, it was knowledge-based academic stream, focused education. Now, education will be based on 3 pillars. Not only knowledge, knowledge will be definitely there and important, but along with knowledge, skills and values, they will also be the part of it. Every education, total education will be put up in framework. Those frameworks are, one is credit framework. So wherever you go in India, 1 year means 1200 learning hours and 40 credit. One semester means 600 learning hours minimum and 20 credit. Number one, we will be going for qualification framework. Wherever we go in India, first year means 4.5, second year means 5 level, third year means 5.5, fourth year means 6. So everybody will be having level from 4.5 up to 8 in higher education. For each level, there will be qualification from certificate, diploma, degree, postgraduate diploma, postgraduate, doctorate. So level will be assigned with qualification. It will be assigned with credit framework. Each level will have qualification specification. When we mean certificate, it means in 5 domains, there will be minimum this thing achievement. Some achievement in knowledge domain, some in technical skills domain, some in behavioral domain, some employability readiness, some in readiness to take responsibility. So on this domain, very clear cut qualification specifications are given. And we will be going finally towards outcome-based education. Now you can correlate with accountability. Whenever outcome comes, accountability get fixed. So outcome-based education, it will begin with program outcome or graduate attribute to finally the individual course outcome and its assessment. This is the journey of multidisciplinary level-based higher education. That is why you have 7 verticals in each type of undergraduate program. This is the basis on which implementation of NEP will take place. It has already started. Let us get prepared because we are in higher education. Educator means we are preparing students for their happy life. We are preparing students for their future job roles. We are preparing students for their economic independence. So our focus is these 3 achievement of the student, and for that the process is what we have discussed in last 3 hours. I hope our learning outcomes are achieved. Ankit will definitely take some test to ensure whether it has taken. But finally, I express my sincere thanks to August Gathering for, you can say, listening to me. My sincere thanks to Sri Bhagwantrao Gaikwad College of Engineering for taking this program. My sincere thanks towards our director, my friend Dr. Atik sir, my friend Ankit, our registrar, pro vice chancellor. Thanks to all of you. Now forum is open for question answer session, if any, for another 5 to 10 minutes. Ankit, is it okay? Friends, is it okay? Anybody? Is anybody there? Or
Uh, Sir,
yeah, Shivangina, yeah.
yes, sir. Sir, my question is, especially in humanity, as NEP is more holistic oriented education system on international levels as well. So, how can we inculcate more vocational aspects to the humanities, especially my subject area of history, sir?
Ma'am, now you will have right from second year the component of vocational and skill education. Now coming to history,
Yes, sir.
I think there will be what are the different vocations related to say history. Say one example, I take only one, tourism. I take
Yes,
only
sir.
tourism as one of the examples where history and occupation and profession, they are mapped very closely. So now you
Yes, sir.
consider your students, suppose they become the tourist professional for historical places throughout the world. So prepare, give them some course, some skill, so that they can be a, you can say, professional tour operator. Second
Yes,
thing,
sir.
suppose you want to, rather than reading history is one part of it. Writing history, creating history is second part of it. Can we make our student to come out with some hidden historical aspects of your subject? Now, some things are known, but there may be many things in history which are yet unexplored. So how to explore the unexplored path? If I make one course on that, as far as historical monuments or achievements are concerned, can it not be a course?
Yes,
Writing,
sir. Yes, sir.
writing historical documents or preparing, say, audio, video related to history, can it not be a vocational course?
It can be, sir.
So just I am not a man from your place, so I am extremely sorry. But immediately I can find so many vocational courses related to the subject of history, wherein lot of potential is there for our students. See, now
Yes,
suppose
sir.
providing historical context to the serial writers. Now there are many serials on TV and other OTT platforms which are based on history. Can your student jointly with students from arts or literature can
Yes,
give
sir.
episodes for episode which are based on history?
Yes, sir. Our institution is working on that, sir.
So that is what I am saying. I am just telling you how many vocational skill courses can there be.
Yes, sir.
So this is what is expected in NEP, ma'am. When we say vocational,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, wonder, it was a really very good question for me.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Good learning for me too.
Yes, sir.
I request audience, please give me, Frank, your feedback also, where areas where I can still further improve. Because when I give sessions to others, so if something you feel that I can improve, please feel free. May you can give to anybody with university authorities also. They can convey, or you can directly convey me also. I can further improve. Ultimately, our everybody's aim is to get aware and know better about NEP, because we have to implement it. Probably Ankit is not there. If he is not, then anybody of you can express vote of thank and we can say goodbye. I think, should we stop, friends?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah.
Yeah, sir, it was really comprehensive, and you covered most of the points that we really need to concentrate on. Yes. So we really thank you for your comprehensive lecture, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Goodbye then. We should stop now.
Okay, sir. Goodbye.
Goodbye. All the best to all of you.
Thank you, sir.